Hi, I'm Tricia Dodd, and this is my story. Born on a bright December day, all seemed well. 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a cute little nose. There was no way to tell that deep inside this baby boy was not a boy at all. And who could hate a baby so innocent and small? Time drove on, and as it did, naturally I grew. And as I did, it wasn't long before I finally knew that something just did not feel right, in fact, terribly wrong. Quite the tragic story, spanning half a century long. By the time I could reach the looking glass, it was all becoming clearer that this boy who was staring back at me was a stranger in my mirror. School days came in secret kept, afraid of what might be. Only in my dreams as I slept was the girl inside set free. And she'd dance through fields in cotton gowns, how I'd envy and revere her, even though she was the prisoner of that stranger in my mirror. Perhaps hoping to be found out, I carelessly hid my clothes, cleaning house while I was at school, now mother and father knows. To say the least, they took it hard, thus adding to the shame of something that I did not cause, yet still I took the blame. I'd lay awake many nights, wondering, could they ever learn to embrace and endear her? Or would they only love and recognize the stranger in my mirror? Got my first car, now somewhat free to pursue happiness, and go and be where I want to be, and dress how I want to dress. The drag bars and clubs, they welcomed me, but I just did not fit in. Something still was missing, but I'd try and try again. So I'd dress up and I'd go out, but all I'd feel is queerer, just a hopeless variation of that stranger in my mirror. Then finally grown and on my own, but in the throes of passion. 2 weeks pass by, she says, I'm late. My hopes and plans went crashing. 'Cause now I had to make a choice. Would it be my child or me? But it never was a choice at all. Only one way it could be. So I pushed the girl down deep inside, where I never dreamed I'd steer her. And thus I gave complete control to the stranger in my mirror. But she would not be contained and put back in her prison. Several times she did escape, begging for someone to listen. The war ensued and finished off an already bad marriage. Seemed nothing could stop her now and leave her in disparage. She was bound to be free no matter who would jeer her. She said, you know what you must do to that stranger in my mirror. And so we separated, but we had a son and daughter, who we brought up in church, and they retained what we taught him and we taught her. I was still so confused, so I knew they would be too. So I kept her a secret. I didn't know what else to do. And then I met a girl and fell in love. And longing to be near her, I forsook the truth and embraced denial and became the stranger in my mirror. We were wed Y2K just shortly after midnight. We were in love like a fairy tale. We only ever had one fight. And I honestly somehow believed that I could be a man. For nearly a decade I took that thought and ran. And she held her peace for 8 long years and never spoke a word, knowing from experience that she would not be heard. But time and circumstance, they play a role in every life. I'd lay awake by the sleeping girl, once my adoring wife. We drifted apart and asked ourselves all the hows and whys. And then finally it happened. I opened up my eyes. And the girl within woke from her sleep and made her presence known. Her patience had come to an end. Her boldness, it had grown. So then I had to ask myself, whatever made me fear her? Now that the time had come to say goodbye to the stranger in my mirror. Hearts were broke, rejection came, and so this was the cost. So dark was the night before the dawn, I still mourn what I have lost. But what I have now is peace and joy and true serenity, living as the woman that I was always meant to be. The price I paid was oh so great, but now each new day is dearer, because when I look, I no longer see a stranger in my mirror. Now when I look, all that I see is the real me. No more stranger in my mirror.